We just wrapped National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and Virginia Representative Abigail Spanberger has introduced new bipartisan legislation aimed at keeping children safe in person and online. Representative Spanberger joins us now live this morning with more. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us how this will strengthen federal efforts to keep our children safe.
Well, this piece of legislation is an important bill that recognizes the changing landscape where children continue to be victimized and potentially could be victims. And so what this bill does is it pulls together resources necessary to create a national commission to bring together law enforcement, to bring together the Department of Justice, to bring together the nonprofit entities that exist in this space to develop proactive strategies to protect children. And this bill was developed by folks with a law enforcement background. My career before I got into Congress, I began my career of public service as a federal agent. I worked for the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, which works a tremendous quantity of cases related to the exploitation of children, particularly when it comes to sexually exploitive images of children. For this bill, I joined with Brian Fitzpatrick, a Republican from Pennsylvania, himself a former FBI agent. And we worked together to build out this bill. We know right now is that the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children received more than 100 million tips last year, 100 million tips last year. Those are data files, those are videos, those are photos of images and imagery of children being exploited in what we know is that the resources, the strategy, and the ability to proactively both protect children and rescue children who are being abused to generate these terrible, horrific images, those resources and the proactive strategies need to be strengthened given the evolving threat.
And we will certainly follow you on this legislation that you've introduced to see what ultimately comes from it. Since I have you, though, this has been the headline for several days from coast to coast. We're seeing protests on college campuses, some of them turning violent over the Israel and Hamas war. You have some Jewish students saying that the clashes have now veered into anti-Semitism, and House Speaker Mike Johnson demanding the need for the National Guard to intervene. So my question for you is, what do you believe should happen?
So my focus, and what I think should be the focus of every legislator, and particularly those in the Commonwealth of Virginia, is making sure that our students are safe on campus. What we know to be true is that there has been a significant uptick in reported incidences of anti-Semitism, both on campus and throughout our communities. There's also been a substantial uptick in reported incidences of Islamophobia and anti-Muslim attacks and threats. And this threatens the whole of our community. This threatens certainly safety and security on campuses, but it really, in a very difficult time on the global stage in the national security space, it is of the most importance that we are protecting students and community members. And what we've seen on campuses when there have been turns towards violence, as has been the case where there have been aggressions towards other students, where there have been vandalism, there's been overtaking of buildings. In some cases, there's been threats made and items thrown towards police officers. That becomes an issue of public safety. And that's a situation where law enforcement officers, in concert with the universities and at the direction and in coordination with university leadership, should be working to ensure that campuses are safe, that all students are safe, that learning can continue. The fact that we see some campuses where learning is shut down or classes have gone solely online because the campus is out of control and the students don't feel safe. That's frankly a disservice to the type of learning and the type of inquiry and intellectual inquiry that's supposed to happen on campus. So certainly location to location, the circumstances are different, but it continues to be an escalating and difficult circumstance.
Hey, well, thank you so much for speaking with us this morning, Representative Abigail Spanberger. We appreciate it.